284 volunteers, specialist volunteers, and 7,861 young people in our cadet program, and that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Let the record reflect Commissioner McClain-Hill is now present. And we do have two comment cards here.
Please call the comments.
We have Jerry Dietrich and Prentice Jenkins.
Go, Jerry.
Hi, my name is Jerry Dietrich, and I'm with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. I would like to once again talk about Chief Beck. We're only given 2 minutes to speak, and this issue requires more than 2 minutes. As you may remember, last week I talked about 3 instances that show that he must go. They illustrate 4 main reasons he should be fired. Number 1 is the lawsuits. Chief Beck has been unable to reel in his people. He alone has cost the city major money. I realize that lawsuits exist, and they always have existed, always will, but under this man, they have continued unabated. Beck cannot be told how to respond to an incident. He feels he is above disciplinary boards, internal affairs, etc. He feels he is in charge, and he will run his department accordingly. Third instance is cronyism. I don't even explain it, but he just wants to please his buddies. That's all he wants. And in closing, I'd like to say that he shows a complete lack of respect for this commission. He even shows contempt. So I will repeat: Chief Beck must go.
Who's gonna pick these up? While y'all looking at me,
Prentice Jenkins.
Prentice Jenkins.
Good morning.
Good morning. President Johnson, Vice President Soberoff, Chief, Board. Prentice Jenkins, City Life newsletter publisher, activist since 1991. You know, I was typing out a statement about how terrorists are going to hit us. And as I was typing, I typed that they're going to try and hit our train stations, they're going to try and hit our malls. And guess what came on the news? As I was typing, someone had just hit the mall. Not here, but somewhere else. They hit a mall. Minnesota, yeah. And also, someone blew up a bomb near a train station. Listen, we're not going to be impervious to this. They're going to try us. And I ride that train. So the most important thing is when you see something, say something. You know, I did that 3 years ago at the train station. I saw a suspicious package called because they said, see something, say something. The woman told me, oh, can you go over and look to see what it is? It's a bomb. What the hell? I said, no, isn't that your irrelevant? So, well, you know, we can't really come out for something like that. So I left on the train. What would have happened if it was really a bomb? I've actually saw something and said something. And so it's important, folks. Don't mess around. They're going to try and hit us. They're going to try and hit us hard. And it's going to be at that train station. And it's going to be at the malls where it's wide open.
3 is closed.
Okay? And
So
so long, you're right. All those people look like they had the same father. And the father was Donald Trump. I read the statement.
We have no other comment cards on this item. We're on item number 3, regular agenda items.
Thanks. Before we move to the regular agenda items, I did want to make a public acknowledgement and a public thank you to Commissioner Kathleen Kim. After 3 years of volunteering her time on the commission, today is her last meeting. We had a very nice private reception for her this morning, where a number of people had opportunity to say some very nice words and thank her for her service. I want to publicly acknowledge it. Thank you very much for your service. Your contributions here will be felt long after we leave, particularly with respect to the homelessness issues that we deal with and dealing with our immigrant population. So thank you very much, and we will very much miss having you.
Commissioner Johnson and my co-commissioners for the thoughtful cooperation we've had in Commissioner form this agenda, and members of the LAPD and the command staff for working with us and being responsive to those efforts, and then the Inspector General's office for their thorough work facilitating those efforts and identifying issues that should be addressed, and then also members of the commission staff, which we thank for guiding us and helping us with strategies. And I appreciate the opportunity to have, in any way that I have, shape policies, and then also with respect to immigrants' rights. I appreciate the department's openness to my involvement in those issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're now on item number 3A, Department's verbal update and discussion relative to the status of the recommendations contained in the Inspector General's report, 10-year overview of categorical use of force investigations, policy, and training, update on status of recommendations dated April 27, 2016.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. George Villegas from the Office of Administrative Services, Bill Murphy from PTSB, and Will Camel from Director of Training and Education.
You might want to pull the microphone just a little closer.
So we've made significant progress on the 12 recommendations that I'm glad to report and pleased to report. So I'll go over each one briefly and kind of give a status update and indicate how we'd like to proceed as we move forward so that we can have all of these fully implemented. So OIG recommendation number 1 is the revision of the use of force policy.
Sorry.
So OIG recommendation number 1 is revision of the use of force policy specific to including de-escalation attempts. And OIG recommendation number 2 is the revision of the use of force policy with the emphasis on deadly force as a last resort, expectation to redeploy when possible. So we are in negotiations now and we confer. I can't go into the details of that because of the confer process. Recommendation number 3, use of force investigations and the evaluation of use of force incidents. We've had preliminary discussions that we're going to have with the use of force committee. So those are in progress, but we also need the actual policy to be done so that we can implement that recommendation. Number 4 is revised policy on deployment criteria for the rifles and shotguns. To draft and to codify the process. We've done that. The PTSB notice went out March 31st, 16, so that recommendation is complete. Recommendation number...
I'm sorry, but going back to number 3, understanding that the revision of the actual policy is in the meet and confer process, and understanding that we already trained on de-escalation, correct? Why do we have to wait until we have the official policy change to have that aspect continued, included as a part of our evaluation on use of force?
Which one? Which recommendation?
On number 3, it's to ensure that all investigations and evaluations of use of force include written consideration of whether de-escalation was feasible, and for deadly force incidents, whether reasonable alternatives have been exhausted or
We're already doing that now.
But it's not in the reports that we're getting.
Right. So that's the part that we're going to have a discussion with the use of force committee of how we're going to highlight that for you within the report.
So that'll be a part of the next Tuesday's conversation.
Correct. So recommendation number 4 I've covered, that's already complete. Recommendation number 5 with respect to the training for the specialized training for the reset officers. An Office of Operations notice was already completed June 3rd.
Was completed.
Was completed. That's already in progress. 99% complete. As personnel change within the different reset teams, hope teams, etc., they're also being included in that training as well. So depending on deployment, we may be 100% complete or 99.9% complete, depending on how it is. But the actual, the spirit of it is already fully implemented. With respect to item number 6, use of force training to reinforce de-escalation in all of use of force training. The de-escalation concept taught in supervisory school and understanding de-escalation concept is a part of the promotional process. So it's 3 different components within one. We believe that they're already completed. The concept of de-escalation we've already trained to in all of these aspects. The only difference now is waiting for that the training directive that were almost the tactical directive, rather, the tactical directive to be implemented within the actual curriculum. C is already part of
And when will the tactical directive be done?
within a week or 2. It's already been drafted, and it's now in the process for the chief of police to review, and then for it to be reviewed by the use of force committee.
And what will the practical change be? You're already doing it now.
We're already doing that. The C is understanding de-escalation concept as part of the promotion selection process. So we've already started that. The very next exam, promotional exam, is the captain's exam. That's going to occur, and they've been provided with the information so that they can create and draft a question relative to readiness for human life and de-escalation. 7 is de-escalation training that it adequately be addressed in recruit and in service, and B, that conduct a nationwide survey of agencies of best practices. That is complete, and we're ready to schedule the meeting so that we can do a full presentation on what we found in these surveys and how we've incorporated and have a consistency between in-service training and recruitment.
So you're ready to give that report anytime?
Well, we need time. The actual report will be comprehensive.
Sure.
We need to schedule it, make sure that we have a good, I'm suggesting at least 2-hour period of time, because I suspect that within that presentation, you're going to have a number of questions that we're going to need to explain or express. And we need to actually sit down and schedule it. Again, when we have this conversation.
We can certainly make sure we have a light agenda, or maybe even a dedicated meeting.
Yeah, I would suggest a single purpose.
Yeah.
What I would do for those 2 items.
Okay. What time frame are you think you'll be in a
This one is
position
3 a.m.
to do that?
Pick up this one. Yeah, so put that one in first.
My understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, we wanted to go to the use of force committee first, if that's possible, so for
Do you
two
want to
review on
speak on
that,
this one? It's
and then
3
go
a.m.
open session right
This one
now.
is 3 a.m. if you want to speak on it. I already put it in.
We'll work on that day. We already have one single purpose meeting coming up, so maybe we'll do that towards the end of October.
Item number 9, evaluate current training material, ensure the concept-based model includes specific guidance and tactics. Again, we'll be able to provide that presentation at the use of force committee. Number 10, evaluate recruit basic training and in-service training for consistency, ensure both courses are consistent in ensuring sufficient emphasis on de-escalation goals and the reduction use of deadly force, very similar to what we discussed.